Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. The pencil brush I'm going to review is called Pencil and Charcoal and see details in the info box. You can watch the previous review here. The ad says that they are all hyper-realistic, so let's see if that's true by testing them. Keep in mind that this is my honest opinion and I'm not paid for those reviews by brush creators or anybody else. I only do this for the benefit of my viewers, so you can get the best impression of the brush packs I bought and tested for you. As usual, I start from the brush which looks like a basic one to me. It's called HB pencil, which in reality I would choose for fast sketching. It feels pretty realistic even though I'm not impressed by the texture. This pencil brush doesn't have a good line weight dynamic, as I say, and it's not that pressure sensitive. In fact, the ability to vary the weight of my strokes is very important to me. So that is a minus. I can't achieve a thin line without changing the size of the brush, so it kind of breaks my flow. It is also not tilt sensitive, so I can't use it as a natural pencil, and I think that actually including the tilt sensitivity in the pencil brush is the most logical thing you would do, because that's how you use a pencil. You just tilt it and create those wide strokes or shading. Okay, next one is B4, which should be softer, I guess. I don't really like it. It doesn't feel like a real pencil at all, and no tilt feature again, but why? It does a better job with the line dynamics, but it still doesn't make up for the lack of the realistic feel. The textures feel a bit oily. It looks more like some paint or a marker, but not a pencil or charcoal stick at all. Let's see the HB one. Well, I have mixed feelings about this brush. It is definitely much better than the previous one, but still it would probably work well for sketching. It feels fine to work with. Somewhere in between charcoal and graphite, or maybe it resembles a bit of a soft colored pencil, which is kind of great, I think. It does feel rather real. Let me change the color to show you. Yeah, that's it. Definitely a colored pencil, very much like the ones I have among my art materials. So far, it's the closest to the real feel pencil from this pack. Let's look how it would work on white paper. That way, it looks even better, I think. Hope you can see. It really looks and feels real and comfortable to use. So here goes B9 pencil, and it should be the softest and the darkest one, I presume. I can't see how it's any different from the ones I tried before, other than I absolutely dislike the texture. If you zoom in, you can see that it's bubbly and doesn't look natural at all. There is one good thing about this brush. It uses the tilt feature. Hallelujah, finally! Even though in a rather weird way, I would say. It wouldn't allow me to make a smooth transition between the strokes due to its texture. You kinda see the border of each stroke and it can't be softened by pressure sensitivity. It feels more like trying to draw with a tilted pencil over some object which is under the paper. When I was a kid, we used this method to make copies of coin patterns or any other flat but textured objects. It was fun, but I wouldn't really want this to work on a surface which is probably a face or something like this. Let's see the next one. It's charcoal light grainy. So what can you give us, huh, buddy? I guess it's supposed to imitate a charcoal stick with the rough texture. I'm not sure how I would use this in my work, but it seems quite fine to me. Okay, the next one is smudged. I believe the name speaks for itself. And it's cool. This tool is definitely worth it. Finally, something which I really like. It's a great shader which looks very, very real, as if I just put my finger on paper and smudged the paper to create a gradients and a smooth tone transition. Super cool. In smaller size, it's less impressive because the texture is repetitive and it becomes a little bit too obvious, but I believe it was meant to be used in big size and with larger strokes. Let's see the charcoal pencil. Well, no. I don't like the texture. Again, sorry if I'm getting repetitive, but that's how I feel about most brushes in the pack so far. Like, something is very off with textures for me quite often. But to redeem this one a bit, I must say that I really like the stroke dynamic here. But why can't we have all the three in one single tool? I mean, the stroke dynamic, the tilt feature, and the good texture. Soft charcoal is the next brush we explore. Oh wow, this one is good. I mean, this one is really good. I wish all other brushes were as good as this one. This does feel like a very real charcoal. Makes me worry if I get my fingers dirty. That's how real it is. It would work wonders on charcoal expressive artworks. I love it very much. Charcoal stick. Well, it is what it should, what it says it should. Real and nice. I love square brushes a lot, and it's great both on white and brown paper. I would use it for both blocking in shapes and making expressive strokes. A good, decent brush. So, this is wood charcoal. It works with tilt, good, and does it quite well. In my opinion, charcoal brushes in this pack are in general much better than the pencil and graphite ones. Like, it's a whole new level. I like the square brush more, but this one is fine. Not the best brush here, not the worst one as well. Shader, which I find rather weird. It doesn't look natural, and its use of stabilization makes it feel very weird to me. I hope you guys understand that this is my personal taste, and your experience with all of the brush packs I review might be different from mine, but that's how I feel. Grunge brush also feels pretty strange. I use iPad Pro 2018 and it's fast, but the stabilization in this brush makes it feel as if it's lagging somehow. And here goes crayon. Let's see how it works. I have so many pleasant childhood memories about crayons. They were so cheap, and I was a Soviet child and we didn't have much, but I did have the abundance of crayons, so that was my creative childhood somehow. It's pretty cool. Can be used as a pencil, and it's actually more real than the pencil brush here. I like it. So here we are. We finally reached the last one to test. It's another charcoal pencil, and it's weird. Feels more like an oil brush or something. It's actually a rather cool brush, in fact, even though it has nothing to do with what looks like charcoal to me, but it's funky in a way. I hope you get what I mean. I would probably still use it even though it's not that real, but like it can achieve pretty interesting effects, I think. So what can I say about this pack after testing all of the brushes? I remind you to watch my previous video if you haven't already. It feels a bit better than the previous one I reviewed. It has more brushes, which I find realistic and usable in my artworks. It doesn't solve all of my problems and give me all the materials I would need to feel like I'm having a complete digital set to create a fully realistic pencil and charcoal piece. But nevertheless, I still find it quite useful. Some of the brushes, like that smudge one, were really cool. What I'm really disappointed with is the amount of brushes which either have weird texture or stroke dynamic or do not allow me to use the tilt feature, which is to me is essential in a pencil imitating tool. So let's see how this pack works in action, which I think is the most important thing after all. For demonstration, I decided to make a portrait of Angel Aziraphale from Good Omens TV show, which I love. I wanted the style to lean towards Sargent's pencil sketches or something like this. Not that I dare to claim that I am able to get any near this master, but he was my guiding light, let's put it like this. I also took some of the Gibson's artworks for inspiration, since I really like both of these artists and try to learn from them. To be honest, I didn't really like working with this pack. I had to think all the time how I can use these brushes to achieve my goals. The solutions didn't come naturally. Eventually, I used only a couple of brushes that seems to work quite fine, but reaching my creative goal with those tools was quite difficult, and I'm not entirely happy with what I got in the end. To be honest, I think that this pack is not the one I would buy for its price. I can get almost exactly the same result with some of the default Procreate brushes or many other free ones that you can simply download from the internet. Even though in testing I like this pack more than the previous one, in action it proved to be less satisfying. Yes, I've managed to create a rather pretty piece in the end, but keep in mind that I'm a rather experienced artist, which means I can make a decent drawing with very limited tools. I measure the usability of the brush pack on the scale of how easy and intuitively clear it was for me to use the tools it offers. Did I have to switch between different brushes too often, the way I wouldn't if I were using a real-life pencil? Do the specific attributes of the brushes help me to stay in the flow and simply create the image I have in my mind? Or I get interrupted all the time having to look for solutions and correct some bugs, or trying to combine brushes to achieve my creative goals too often? Please let me know in the comments below what is the most important for you when you choose a brush. Like, how can you feel that it does its job for you, whether it's great or not? This pack was quite challenging, and I think a beginner artist would feel very limited with its capacity. So I personally wouldn't recommend buying it if you're looking for a good pencil imitation pack, especially as your first and basic imitation tool. I hope this review was helpful, and I would be very happy if you share this video with your artist friends. Thanks for watching, and see you soon!